Hey guys, just want to make sure to remind you about something we did in lesson 10.6, which was last week, called completing the square. This is something you're going to have to remember how to do for tonight's homework because you're going to be practicing for the quiz. The quiz is on Thursday. It includes lessons 10.6, 10.7, 10.8. 10.6 was completing the square, 10.7 was using the quadratic formula, and 10.8 was interpreting the discriminant. So hopefully you remember the last two, but the first one was kind of a while ago, so I want to remind you. I'm going to do a problem on page 669. It's the review section of your book. Number 30. Okay. It says x squared minus 14x equals 51. And the directions say to solve the equation by completing the square. So remember that in order to complete the square, what we need to do is find some number to add to both sides of the equation to make this side a perfect square trinomial. So what we want to do is we want to take b, which is negative 14, divided by 2, and square it. Okay? So negative 14 divided by 2 is negative 7. Negative 7 squared is 49. So I'm going to add 49 to both sides of my equation here. Okay? So it's going to turn out to be x squared minus 14x plus 49 equals 100. 51 plus 49. Okay? Now I can factor this to be a perfect square. Okay? This is x minus 7. Remember, you can look back up in here into these parentheses and see what it was that you found. Negative 14 divided by 2 is negative 7, so it's x minus 7 squared equals 100. Okay. Now we're in a good position because we can take the plus or minus square root of both sides. And of course what that does is it gets rid of the square right here on this set of parentheses. So we end up with just x minus 7 on this side. And over here we have plus or minus rad 100, which of course is plus or minus 10. To complete this problem, we're going to add 7 on both sides and find our two solutions. Add 7, x equals 7 plus or minus 10. Well, that means x could equal 7 plus 10, which is 17, or x could equal 7 minus 10, which is negative 3. Okay, so let's do another problem, number 31. It says 2a squared plus 12a minus 4 equals 0. For this kind of problem, we always want to check for a common monomial factor. And I see one. It is 2. So let's divide both sides of the equation by 2. We end up with a squared plus 6a minus 2 equals 0. Okay? And then what we can do is add 2 on both sides of the equation. The idea here, remember, is to get a perfect square trinomial, and this is not going to factor into a perfect square binomial. Okay, so I'm going to add 2 on both sides because that one's not working for us. We're going to move that one out of the way and put a new number in its place. We end up with a squared plus 6a equals 2. I leave a space because remember we're going to be adding a value c to both sides of the equation. The way we find c is we take the 6 divided by 2 and square it. So 6 over 2 squared. 6 divided by 2 is 3, squared is 9. So we're going to add 9 to both sides of the equation. When we add 9, this is what it looks like. A squared plus 6a plus 9 equals 11. Okay, now we have a perfect square trinomial. We can factor this to be a plus 3 squared, and that still equals 11. Remember, we take the number 3 from these parentheses right here. 6 divided by 2 was positive 3. Now we take the plus or minus square root of both sides. Okay, now it's just a matter of solving for a. Plus or minus square root of both sides means that this square root is going to cancel. We end up with a plus 3 on this side of the equation. Over here we have plus or minus rad 11. Subtract 3 on both sides, and what you end up with is a equals negative 3 plus or minus square root of 11.